Matthew 19, verses 5 and 6. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. So they're no longer two, but one. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. Let no one separate. That includes our own children. Too often in our lives, our marriage takes a back seat to other good things. Sometimes it's for a season, sometimes it's more permanent. Maybe it's a busy time at work or caring for a sick family member. For many of us, it's this busy phase of life with multiple children who all have multiple activities, and as parents, we find ourselves as two ships passing in the night. It's so easy to put our marriage on the back burner because of the busyness of life. It's easy to justify why we can't do it today. It's easy to say, we'll do it next week, over and over again. We all know and even feel that we need to spend more time devoting to each other as parents. We hear the stories of marriage struggles after children leave the home, and we hear the stories of feeling like parents don't even know each other anymore. Empty nest syndrome is real, and the data is backing it up. A 2022 study done at Bowling Green indicates that in 1990, the divorce rate for couples 50 and over was 8.7%. And by 2019, that rate spiked to 36%. We have to become more and more intentional about devoting time to and creating time with our spouses. The cure to the above data is as simple as that. It requires us to be more intentional about our time and focus on the relationship over the task at hand. Additionally, I have to remember that as a husband, I'm showing my daughters each and every day how she should be treated. And also showing my son each and every day how he should treat his future wife. It's not easy, but it's imperative that we consistently show our children how love between parents should look and that we work to help our relationship grow, not just stay stagnant. Well, so how do we get there? Well, the first thing you have to do is take care of yourself. It's impossible to fill someone else's cup when yours is empty. It's important for us to fill ourselves in three major categories: spiritually, physically, and social emotional. Are you active and involved in your church? If not active in your church, do you have people who you're doing life together with? There's something special about a church family worshiping together and taking care of each other outside of the walls of the building. Are you in the Word? Are you spending time in prayer? I know. When am I going to squeeze that into the schedule? Find the small times. What are you listening to on the way to work or while you're doing the dishes at night? Find those small times to fill yourself with the Word and spend time in prayer. Perhaps the hardest for me is making time to be physically active. My mind tells me that I'm selfish. My mind tells me this is time that you could be with your family. Your health and wellness limit your ability to be a great spouse and parent. You have to make time for it. Making the time for it will repay tenfold by keeping you healthy with high levels of energy and demonstrating to your children the importance of taking care of yourself. Socially, we need relationships with brothers and sisters in Christ. The easiest way to initiate this is encourage your spouse to go to that ladies' event or that men's night at church. Grab a cup of coffee with a mentor or invite a group of friends over for a night in while your spouse takes the kids out for dinner. It's easy to say, hey, I've got the kids. You go spend some time with your friends. Ladies, let him play that round of golf with his friends. That little bit of time helps to fill each other's cup and in turn helps to make them a better spouse. Now comes the fun part. I've found in my life that it's far more enjoyable to fill other people's cups than it is to fill my own. Filling my own is absolutely necessary, but you get joy in filling the cups of others. It's uniquely enjoyable when you and your spouse both are working to keep each other's cup filled. Well, how in the world do we do that? Our schedule's so busy that I can't fit anything else into our schedule. There's 5 things that we regularly do to ensure that our relationship is continuing to grow. I'll start small. I try to demonstrate to my kids that my wife comes first. When I walk in the door and hear, "Daddy's home," it absolutely melts my heart. But I walk past them and I go find Lindsay. She's the most important one to me, and I demonstrate that. After I've greeted Lindsay, I'll go play with the kids and we'll wrestle on the floor and we'll talk about our days. But the first thing I do is I find her. The second thing we do is what we call micro dates. We have 2 types of micro dates. Our lovely daughter Brooklyn has decided that she wants to be an early riser and be out of bed at 6 a.m. most mornings. So we found ourselves in this cycle of waking up when she woke up and immediately jump into getting ourselves ready and getting the kids ready and packing lunches, only to rush out the door and say, "I love you." And we haven't even had a chance to really talk to each other. So we began to set our coffee pot for 5:15 and our alarms for 5:30. And 5:30 to 6, we simply drink coffee and talk. Sometimes it's about plans, sometimes it's about news. It was never a structured time, but we purposely built the time in for each other. Our second micro date is the post-dinner date. It's as simple as it sounds. After everyone's finished the dinner, we kick the kids out of the kitchen. In the midst of the dirty dishes, we just chat at the dinner table. And when a kid comes up and asks for dessert, we just tell them, "This is mommy and daddy's time. Go play." The short moments and conversations are vital for us to be on the same page, but they help us learn more about each other and to trust each other more. Next, I encourage everyone to set a reminder. I have in my phone a reminder for noon every day that just says, "Love your wife." This takes us back to the early stages of dating, when you would call or text, for those of us who had text messages, just because. Sometimes it's a sweet text, sometimes it's a funny meme, but that acknowledgement, even during the midst of a busy day, says, "I'm still thinking about you." Our fourth part of building our relationship is our budget meeting. It's no secret that one of the leading causes of divorce is financial issues. That's just a small part of why we believe it's important. It's a time together where you problem solve. You talk about your dreams, you talk about difficult issues before they happen. The budget committee is made of 2 people, you and your spouse. And yes, both of you have to be at the meeting. The discussions here direct the next month, and in some cases, several months. It guides and directs your goals, and it helps you to have shared goals. This intentional time together allows you to dream together and plan a future together. And finally, scheduled getaways. It'll look different for everyone. Maybe it's a date night, maybe it's a weekend getaway, maybe you have family in town, like we do. Maybe you have a babysitter, but schedule it. It can be as simple as going to Home Goods or Costco together without kids and then eating at Seoul. Or it can be a fancy dinner. The important part is the time. In the recent years of our life, Lindsay and I have committed to going on a marriage retreat at WinShape each year. WinShape's located in Rome, Georgia, on the campus of Berry College, and it offers a large variety of options devoted to helping build healthy, Christ-centered marriages. You'll learn together, worship together, and play together, and eat some excellent food. We highly encourage you to find a session at WinShape or a similar retreat that focuses on Christ-centered marriage. These 5 practical and simple practices can and will help you to strengthen your marriage. The continual growth while you have children at home is vital. It's showing your children how parents should be, and perhaps more importantly, it's preparing you for a life together once they take flight and leave your nest.